Woo!
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Business Temple. Welcome to the set, TBT fam. Happy weekend, yo. What's up, Super Ray?
Happy Saturday, Super Alex. It is TBT
Oh,
time. You know how we do. It is the best place to be at 12 o'clock
I love that.
p.m. in NYC, 9 a.m. in Pacific time. I know we're starting the show a little bit late, but you know what? That's how we do.
It's all good, baby.
It's all good. Man, today's gonna be a great one because today is the art of self-reflection. But before we get into
Yes.
it, everybody, quick reminder: please like, subscribe, join us here at the Business Temple. Follow us on Instagram, and
Oof.
make sure to never miss an episode. So, welcome to today's episode of the art of self-reflecting. You wanted to kick us off? We should put up some music too.
Yeah, hype us out a little bit. You know what I mean? Thanks for introducing people to the topic of the show, Super Ray. And what's most important for today is that y'all smash that like, subscribe, and notification button on YouTube. Subscribe to us. We are consistent every single Saturday here at the Business Temple. We've also started our episodes on Clubhouse. So if you want to listen to those other episodes, the Clubhouse link is on the description below. Wow, I never thought I would do that.
I've been watching a lot of YouTubers and I've been getting inspiration from a few of them. And I would say, quick shout out to a couple of my favorite YouTubers. Actually, do you have any favorite YouTubers? Alex, I never asked you this, but one of my favorite YouTubers is Philip DeFranco. He really does know how to summarize the news, and he's a really cool really cool YouTuber who really has interesting mannerisms, and I not only just listening to him and the way that he explains things in a very concise and easy way for people to follow, he also has his really cool like hand gestures and mannerisms and excitement in his tone of voice when he's trying to engage with the audience. So he's one of my favorite, Philip DeFranco.
I love that, man. Yeah, you gotta, always gotta bring the energy out there, especially when we're on live here at the Business Temple. That's exactly what we do. And more importantly, this is all about philosophy and entrepreneurship. And nobody wants to hear a dull, mundane voice about philosophy and entrepreneurship. You know what I mean? Yeah. I think we're entertainers. Exactly. You know what I mean? I think our part of our jobs here, Ray, is to entertain people. We're entertainers here.
Yes, we're monkeys for you guys.
That's time for the monkey business, as usual, isn't it? Woo! All right, let's go, people. We're going to talk about the art of self-reflection, and this is going to be specifically for entrepreneurs. As you know, we keep it all business here in the Business Temple. So let's get on it. There's a lot to cover. And Ray and I will also share our own journeys to self-reflection as well, how that improved us as an entrepreneur. We're giving everybody tips on how to reflect as well, which is extremely, extremely, extremely important because, as y'all know, entrepreneurs, it's easy to get distracted. It's easy to get cluttered. It's easy to get caught up. All right,
tell them, Super Alex.
I'm preaching, y'all are at church right now. So it's just I know I feel it, especially as I grow older. It's getting harder to focus on many things because as an entrepreneur, that's exactly what you're doing. You're wearing many hats, and I feel like if you don't allow yourself the space to contemplate, to ask yourself really powerful questions, to look at the hard things, criticize yourself, which we're going to go over. There's a certain philosophy about that. The Japanese have it. It's called Hansei. And we're going to go over all that stuff. And yeah, first, let's just talk about like, what does self-reflection even mean? Specifically for entrepreneurs.
Like, what does that even mean? For entrepreneurs, I think self-reflection is not only looking at your business from an outsider's perspective and understanding it, and also delivering on what you intend to deliver, because not the message can get lost in many areas along the way, along those steps. But the most important thing, and this is what we're coming back to and talking about, is self-reflection and self-reflection within oneself, because we can easily just come up with ideas or come up with things that may not necessarily be the best for your business, may not be the
Right.
best for the people around you. So you need to understand that if you're not okay, the business is not going to be okay. Think about where you are, headspace, where you are physically, where you are in the world around you, and then see how you fit into the business that you've created. So as far as I know, self-reflection is one of the most important parts of being a business owner, asking the hard questions, not only to other people, but to yourself. And Alex, you hit it right on the head. It's just to look at yourself and from a different angle, and then say, hey, look, what's going on? Am I okay? Am I okay to make am I okay enough to make the business okay? Because without you, there's no business.
You're
Yeah.
right. Damn, bro, that was profound, man. No, I really love that. What really caught me there, man, was what you said, where if you're not okay, your business is not okay.
Yeah.
You know, and I think especially so for solopreneurs, obviously, you know, you got a lot of moving parts, and you know, as a solopreneur, you are a one-man team or a one-man army.
Yeah.
You know, and so I feel like if you're just kind of, you know, really cluttered and really distracted, then that just reflects the output of your business, doesn't it?
Mhm.
Right. And I mean, even if you've got a lot of employees, you're a CEO of the company, you know, you're a leader. And if you're not performing well here, then the leadership output that you're gonna put out for your team, for your company, obviously will not be the ideal results that you would like. So as you can see, this is for everybody. You know, self-reflection is for everybody. I guess we should have took our parents' advice before when they told us, go to your room and think about what you did. That just came up. But it's true, right? So I oh my god, I can't believe I just said
Go to
that.
your room and think about what you did.
My
You're
parents
saying
told me that all
entrepreneurs
the
are
time.
children? Maybe.
My parents told me that all the time, man. But I find myself doing it a lot these days, you know. And I want to introduce a philosopher here in our episode today. Y'all are already familiar. His name is Socrates, Greek philosopher,
Yes.
and he's actually one of the pioneers of introducing self-criticism and self-reflection
Mhm.
as part of philosophy. And one of his favorite quotes that I actually want to share with you that I wrote down is called, Socrates famously said, "The unexamined life is a life that is not worth living." Okay. And the reason why he says that is because examining your life gives more meaning to the human experience. And more so than that, by keeping a sense of wonder of being alive, we are all engaged in thinking about how we might live and what makes life worth living. You know, I think that's an extremely important perception or POV, because as entrepreneurs, you know, you have this vision of how you want to end up, the results you want to get in 3, 5, 10 years, but then sometimes that changes. You
That's
know,
true.
sometimes whatever it is you do doesn't serve you anymore, or doesn't give you the purpose or passion anymore for you to live life to its fullest. And so it's really important to keep asking yourself questions, difficult questions. You know, where are you at right now? Are you satisfied with where you're at? Are you completely honest with what you want when it comes to where you're at right now? And these are really important questions as entrepreneurs. I've asked myself some of these difficult questions too. Some of them I still have, you know, a hard time answering. But I want to ask a question, Ray. When you get into self-reflection mode, what's the most difficult question that you ask yourself? You know, like, are you hard on yourself when it comes to self-reflection? Are you a little bit easier on yourself, softer on yourself? Like, what's your process with that?
Wow, Alex, I would say that honestly, nobody's ever asked me that question. And I would think that I am very critical on myself, but
Okay.
not to a point where it's
Okay.
detrimental, because I've seen this happen where people are really hard on themselves. They might self-examine way too much. But as far
Hmm.
as the level of professionalism and integrity wise, as well as standards that I have for myself, are
Mhm.
extremely high. They're very, very high. And sometimes I reach them, sometimes I don't. And if I don't reach them, I don't beat myself up for them, because I already
Okay.
know that I am already setting myself at a place where it's essentially unachievable in most cases, but I try to. I do my best, and that's all you can really do. And this is
Set
what
the
I tell
bar high.
people: do your best, and that's all you really can do. And then set the bar yourself. Don't let other people set the bar for you, because
Oh,
if you set it for yourself, it's more so you're setting benchmarks, you're setting goals for yourself, and it's not like if it's coming externally. So when it comes to self-criticism, when it comes to self-evaluation, examination, I really do look at all angles, all different parts of my life, whether it be my relationship, whether it be with work, whether it be my business, everything,
yeah.
everything. And then I I criticize myself, and I'm probably my biggest critic when it comes to reflection. I'm gonna toss that one to you too, because that was a
Yeah.
tough one. That was a tough question, because I didn't really think about that at all.
Neither did I. I
it
mean,
just
it
kind of
just came
happened.
to me.
It just
You
kind
know.
of happens.
Yeah, it does, bro. I think so. When I started out as an entrepreneur, I was really hard on myself, man. Mainly because I had to be strict on. I had to be strict with myself because I didn't know what I was doing. To be
Mhm.
completely honest, man, I was coming from a totally different field, totally different professional background that had nothing to do with owning a business, managing a business, or innovating new ideas and selling that, putting that out there. I had no experience whatsoever with that. And I know that if I didn't ride myself really hard when it comes to being my own critic, I know that I wouldn't be where I'm at today. And also if I didn't get the hard feedback from my mentors, then I know
Mhm.
I wouldn't be here, where I'm at today as well. And the benefit of that is just it thickened my skin. You know what I mean? Before I became an entrepreneur, whenever I used to dread performance reviews all the fucking time, you know, and when it comes to receiving feedback, I just didn't take it well at all, for
Mm.
some reason. But but now it just becomes an opportunity for me to grow and self reflection. It's become a therapeutic experience for me now. So from hard writing myself hard, my worst self critic, just like you, bro, onto now as I matured as an entrepreneur and as I grew older as a person, it's more, I wouldn't say soft, but more on something that's necessary for me, something that I continually have to confront.
Mm.
Asking myself these questions, because if I don't, then I'm not sure I'd be in the right path all the time. So the self reflection for me is just like my North Star.
Yeah, yeah. I was gonna say guiding post, but North Star is like
Yeah, there you go.
better, because it's like you're absolutely right in saying that if you find yourself that you're lost along the way, not to be yeah, to be philosophical, this is a
Yeah,
philosophical show. If you
yeah,
find yourself lost along the way, guide yourself, look for that star, look for where your goalposts are, and then pivot, because not
yeah,
everyone is
exactly.
gonna be going in a straight line. Like we all know, success doesn't happen in a straight line. You're gonna be going
Mhm.
up, you're gonna be going down, you're gonna be going side, you're gonna do that side. It's not a straight line. So recentering yourself, recentering the wheels to go forward, to go to your North Star from time to time is important. I know myself, like I need to like meditate. I need to have my quiet space. I need to breathe
Yeah,
in order to just kind of get back into the zone. And for me, it really helps be more stoic. And just to bring up
love
stoicism is
that.
actually self-reflection is a big part of stoicism.
Yeah,
Uh, I saw here that one of the notes that we have is that with Stoics, when they adopt the self-reflection, part of it is like let us examine, observe, and inspect our hearts. And that's
yes,
a note that Seneca wrote to Lucius, because for we are our own greatest flatterers. Every night we must call ourselves to account. And I really, really enjoy
huh?
that quote. We must call ourselves to account, hold ourselves accountable, hold ourselves to a high degree of standards in when it comes to our business, especially. So this is really important when it comes to just not letting too much emotions get in the way, becoming more
Right.
centered and thinking outside of just, okay, what would that emotional person do versus the logical, more thoughtful, more uh, driven person would do. So that's what I see when it comes to self-reflection.
I
Woo!
love that, man. You're so profound today, bro.
No, I'm ready. I'm ready. I love it
I dig that. No,
because
I
I
dig
do a
that.
lot of self-reflection. It's so natural.
Well, I mean, that's
Al-
good to know and to say on air. We
Alex,
do think.
let's go ahead and tell them about the Japanese form of
Yes,
self-reflection.
absolutely, absolutely.
Yes,
So it's
how do the
actually
Japanese
called
do it?
it's called Hansei. It's a Japanese
Mhm.
philosophy. Here at the Business Temple, every time we do a show, we want to at least try to introduce a new form of business method or a new form of philosophy that's not totally familiar with the masses. And upon doing research here, we found a Japanese philosophy called Hansei. And I've got the description here. So Hansei is an important part of Japanese culture. So it's integrated within how Japanese people live, right? And a continuous form of subtle meditation undertaken to look at past mistakes, outline the lessons, and pledge to act on those lessons. So, what does Hansei mean? Han means to change, turn over, or turn upside down. Sei means to look back upon, review, and examine oneself. Okay, so it's a
Mm,
literal translation of of looking at and reflecting on yourself. You know,
interesting. Yeah.
and I've learned about a few things when doing Hansei. I've got a little image here that I'm going to talk about in a second, but based on what I just said, bro, and let me know what your take is in here. That it says Hansei says to outline the failures and focus on the mistakes so that you can fix it,
Mm,
right? So to me, it's a little bit uncomfortable because I like to direct my self reflection. You know what I mean? And not just focus on it's like saying, okay, what did I do wrong today? You know what I mean? It's
yeah.
it's kind of a difficult question to ask. Oh, it's a powerful question to ask, but like it's directed to something particularly negative, and then from there you have to like transform it into something positive. But I would say not everyone. I don't think everyone has the energy for that, especially during the self reflection phase.
So you
Sometimes you just want to see what
so
you did
you're
wrong,
saying
not
that
necessarily fix it.
you don't necessarily like to look back or try to understand the mistakes or like where you might have fallen. Like, I mean, the whole point of self-reflection is self-evaluation too. And
Yeah.
yeah, so I like to put it in this scenario: being a public speaker, we record our speeches, right? When we record
Hmm.
our speeches, do you tend to rewatch them? And then for us in this scenario, when we record our videos and when we put our videos out there, do we rewatch them? I do so. I'm very self-critical in that scenario where I think about those type of things because it's one thing to get feedback from somebody else, but it's another to just look at yourself critically and then say, okay, maybe I could have done this a little bit better. Maybe I could have said this a little bit
Right.
differently.
Be your best
And
critic
yeah,
or
and
your
then
worst critic.
practice that. So for when it comes to like speeches, when it comes to like doing any type of outward facing like discussions or communication, for me to become a better communicator, I had to reflect and look back at those communications. I really so I tend to record a lot of the speeches I do. I tend to record a lot of the meetings I have.
Yeah.
I record a lot of everything, and then I look back and I say, hey, maybe I could have said this a little differently. Maybe let me practice this, saying it in this format. And usually it turns out well because look, I'm a pretty good speaker now. I
Yeah,
would like to
man.
think I'm a
Absolutely.
pretty good
Super
speaker
right.
now, and that has to do a lot with the self reflection that I do, and then being self critical, and then understanding my style of speaking because everybody has their own style of speaking. It's
That's
not
right.
just something that I just picked up from somewhere or someone and developed it. No, it's something that I created myself, and it took a lot of self reflection. So the way I see Hansei in that regard is identifying, look right here, self-reflection through identifying mistakes and weaknesses in that sense. It's not beating yourself up. It's identifying it and correcting, not saying, oh, I'm terrible at this. I'm terrible at speaking. I'll always be terrible if you review your video. I'm always going to be bad at this. Is identifying it and then making the changes.
That's right. There you go. What I would like to add to Hansei, if I may, is also reflecting on the good things. Yes. I think that's absolutely important as well. What did you do good today? Or in your speech, what did you like about it? What did you good? What can you continue doing that gives you peak performance and great results? And I like a lot of balance. You know what I mean? That's why this Hansei thing makes me uncomfortable, because it just focuses on one thing. But to add to that, reflecting on the good things as well is absolutely a picker-upper. You know what I mean? And I'll explain more of, we'll talk about a little bit more.
Is there a Japanese philosophy or practice to focus on the good things too?
That's a good question. I have no idea. We'll have to do a little bit more research on that, but I'm sure they do. I'm sure they do. There are Japanese terms, Japanese philosophies and methods out there that were totally new to me. Remember when we did a show about Ikigai? Yeah. That's actually another great way to self-reflect. I think especially for entrepreneurs. So Hansei, reflecting on your mistakes, what lessons you can do, what you can learn, and what you can do about it. Reflecting on the good things. And third, I would also add, reflect on your purpose. I think it's absolutely important for entrepreneurs. If you're not continually examining your purpose, questioning your purpose, laying out the blueprint, seeing how you can make it better, then what are you doing? You know what I mean? Being an entrepreneur is such a purposeful job role. It's important to have that drive.
Interesting.
I love that. Flexing on your purpose. Yeah. Definitely. And I think that's the question that I like to focus on a lot, more so than the mistakes and the good things. It's just, am I still happy with what I'm doing? Do I want what I do? I know it may have been what I wanted before. Do I still want it? Do I still want to continue doing it? I think a lot of people get caught up in that hamster wheel where, they think they're doing a good thing. You turn yourself into an entrepreneur. You started a business or a couple of businesses, and you think you're, in the long run, you think you're doing a good thing, but you got to ask yourself if that's the right thing, if it's still the right thing for you, because good and right are not always synonymous.
If you still find the joy in it, and that's very profound. Super, Alex. I think a lot of people can really connect with you on that. And most people that I've seen, they're just unhappy generally.
Yeah, business owners.
And it's hard for me to understand why. And yes, there might be a sense of urgency and stress that comes with being a business owner, being an entrepreneur, but there also don't forget about the happy parts, the good parts. And Alex, you hit it right on the mark. You were on a panel that I hosted with entrepreneurs this week, so we had a taste of what the entrepreneur life was like and different angles about what entrepreneurship meant to them. And it was one thing that Joe on the panel mentioned about just being it more so like a what was it? He was talking about a experience of being an entrepreneur as a form of like happiness, joyness that it's profound. Okay. It's like, and then I followed up with a question like, oh, so there's never really a sad day when you're an entrepreneur. But no, he described it in an emotional, passionate statement about being an entrepreneur as somewhat of a journey of happiness and passion, filled passion and purpose. So it goes back to what you were talking about purpose and finding that happiness. That spark might have been there when you started, and if it doesn't continue to light a flame in you, then it might not be for you. And if it does, and you still feel that fire, keep going, keep chugging along. Be like the little train that could. I think I can. I think I can. I think I can. And keep
That was a good one. That was a good one, Ray. We're getting a lot of childhood jokes up in this bitch, but that was a good one. Yeah, no, definitely.
Mhm.
I I couldn't even recall that Joe said that. That's a great reminder, though,
Yeah.
bro. I mean, and it's such an important question too. I think it has one person recently taught me about bridging the gap between your best self and your honest self,
Hmm.
and I think that's extremely important because you could work really hard. You could work Steve Job level motherfucking hard. You know what I mean? Just
Yeah.
be your best self. But like what you mentioned earlier, bro, like are you happy? Are the people around you, are they happy? Is your family taken care of? We all know Steve Jobs had family issues, but you know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's it's extremely important to be honest with yourself about what's truly important to you, what you truly value, what you really want, and then how you can embody that in your business. For example, you started a company, whatever company that may be, and whatever products or services that you sell, let's say you're extremely successful in doing so. But then inside, what you really want is to be there for your family, to be a father to your kids, and to just take care of your family. But that successful business aforementioned that you started is keeping you away from that. Your best self is in your business, but your honest self is you wanting to be a great father and you want to take care of your family. So how do you bridge that gap?
I'm in the camp of finding balance. I'm all about
Right,
trying
exactly.
to. There's never going to be a time where you can please everybody. There's never going to be the perfect balance of everything, but trying to do the best that you can and find the balance that you can. And you mentioned Steve Jobs. I mean, the guy had issues. The guy had problems. Like we do see Steve Jobs, the visionary entrepreneur who created Apple to
Yeah.
what it was, and it still is now, and his legacy continues on. But as a family man, this guy was a total monster. He was a total uh, degenerate when it comes to taking care of his family. So you just really do need to find what makes you happy, what is the balance that's right for you, and if your business comes first over your family and that's how you want to live your life and that doesn't make you happy,
Then that's
then
you.
that's you. But there's other people out there that do want to find a balance, that want to have the family life, that want to have their business, and it's possible. It's 100% possible. It's not impossible, but it does take that work. It does take a lot of work in both sides. When you want to make it, like they say, marriage is work too. You have to make that
Yeah,
work. If you
absolutely.
have kids, that is work. You need to spend time with your kids in order for them to respect you, for them to love you, you and grow up to be decent human beings. So when it comes to balance, that's what it is. It really is. You can't spend 100 hours in the office working on your business, or vice
Yeah.
versa, spend 100 hours with just your family, or your business is going to die. So think about where you want to be at the right time, and if some people come up with the concept like duplicating themselves or trying to like be
But
two
I haven't
places.
heard of that.
It's like cloning. Oh, I want to clone myself so I can do
Oh,
the
okay,
work, and I
gotcha.
can I can do this and I can do that. There's not enough of me to do it. If you do need external help, outside help, we've strongly encouraged this in the past. Find that help. Don't
Oh yeah,
think that you have to take on
absolutely.
every single obstacle that comes through in your business by yourself. Find help. Get a mentor. Get people that can help you grow the business. Yeah.
Yeah, and to add to that, Super Ray, thank you, man. That was great. And to add to that, especially when it comes to finding a mentor and surrounding yourself with people. We have an episode on that. It's called Circle of Champions. I believe it's on our
Mhm.
YouTube. Subscribe to our show. You could find it there. But my point is that it's important to surround yourself and get mentored by the right people.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Because when it comes to self-reflection, you could, especially if you're new at it or you don't have that much practice with it, you could be a sponge. You know what I mean? Somebody could tell you
Mm.
something profound and you could just take that shit to heart.
The
But you
naivety of
know
an early entrepreneur.
right, just because you have a mentor or just because you're surrounded by by these amazing fucking entrepreneurs, that doesn't mean that they're the right mentors or entrepreneurs for you. So I reinforce, it's extremely important to find the right people to help direct this self reflection, to help, to give you the proper help that you need. especially when it comes to
Don't fall for
self-reflection, man.
don't fall for the bullshit that these people are spewing. That's give me $5,000 and I'll tell you
I
this
was gonna say, man.
a
I
million
was
dollar
gonna say.
business. Okay, you're gonna say I took the thunder, but
No,
damn,
it's all
how
good.
many times have you been solicited with all these ads
Exactly.
telling you, "Give me $5,000 and I'll make you $1 million in a week"? Get the
There's so much of that going on in the world, all of that bullshit, toxicity, and you just gotta be ruthless with the qualifying process of the feedback and advice that you take in as an entrepreneur. Because as I mentioned earlier, being an entrepreneur is such a purposeful role. Not only do you have purpose, but you're giving others purpose as well. Your team, the people you work with, your partners, your immediate family, your clients, especially, all of this is driven through purpose. And you could feel like you're doing the good thing or the right thing, but then, if you don't have the right people around you, if you don't have that circle of champions, it's gonna be a messy experience. Taking the wrong advice is always a messy experience.
Absolutely. That's why we're here at the Business Temple, here to guide you every single Saturday, every week. Well, that should be the end of our show. I think
Ooh.
you hit the nail on the coffin in terms of self reflection, what we need to look out for as entrepreneurs. I hope that you are all better for listening to us today. And I'm sure you are because we dropped a lot of bombs, a lot of
Yes,
great
sir.
knowledge. Is there any takeaways, Alex, that you had from today's episode that you want to share? A couple of
I
call outs?
do. I
Yeah.
do. I just realized, and I'm not inventing this. All of y'all have heard this before. I just realized again that your mind can be your greatest tool or your greatest friend, and it could also be your greatest enemy. And I think with self-reflection, you could really sit with yourself. Sit with your thoughts in silence and declutter, find your focus, find your passion again. And if you have to do this multiple times in a day, in a week, or a month, then do so. Find your North Star and keep sticking to your honest self. Always be honest about what you want and just go out there and get it.
Super, Alex. I mean, I don't think I can close it better than that. I think you hit it right on the nose, brother. And I wholeheartedly agree with those sentiments. We typically try to have a duality in terms of agreements
Yes,
and
we do.
disagreements on the show. We try to keep this fair. We try to keep this unbiased as much as possible. And well, today is one of those days where we are
Completely disagree.
we just completely agree. We're all on the same page here. But thank you all for watching. Thank you for being at Business Temple. Like,
Thank you.
subscribe, and we'll see you next week, baby.
Peace.
Peace.